All right, good afternoon, traders. Today, June 23rd, 2026. My name, Coach Kerrigan, lead instructor here at BYOB Trading.com. That is day trading service for hit and run candlesticks family. Had a great day today. A lot of it was due to bearish bias up at the downtrend line from yesterday. I think I posted that in the room yesterday. So I had some puts, and I was pretty much trading all puts yesterday, and I held quite a few over for the rest of the week, and came down, big gap down today. So walked right into a windfall this morning. All right, let's take a look at the market, and let's move all of this out of the way. Okay, so you can see. Here's price at the downtrend line right here. All right, and I held puts right into that. I saw the failure to break here yesterday. So we had a failed breakout, and then we just came down and we had this super tight consolidation under prior price action. And then we got even more price action under the super tight consolidation. And then you can see we never bounced over VWAP. All through the post market, we even broke down some. And then, of course, you can see price gap down this morning. So we came right into this uptrend line right here. You can see here's our uptrend line. All you do is you string a straight line right here from the low on June 9th. With the low on June 11th, and you can see the uptrend line right through there, and you can see price action kind of pulls right into it right there and reverses out of there. So what do I think happens? I think price kind of ping-pongs back and forth in between here and there. I think it eventually breaks up to here and probably ping-pongs back and forth between this downtrend line and this uptrend line. We'll see what happens, but I see this triangle kind of playing out. You can see here's the other downtrend line. All you do for that downtrend line is string a straight line right across the high here on the 2nd of June, and the next point is the high here on the 4th of June. So the 2nd and the 4th, you put a straight line there, and that should drag it all the way down to this area out here. So I foresee price ping-ponging back and forth between this lower uptrend line and this higher downtrend line right through there. So we'll see what happens. So big gap down. It was a pro gap. So we traded it bullishly. Price went down, bear flag. We traded it as a professional gap. In other words, instead of moving further south, like in a 1, 2, 3, traded it in the opposite direction, whereas price would retrace back toward the direction that it came from. First target up here was, of course, the valley between two peaks right here, okay, and we nailed it right there and took profit. That was a great day. I was looking to buy the pullback, and I did, and I made a little bit of money on the pullback, but not much, because you can see it pulled back much deeper than I expected. Okay, you can see I usually like it to pull back to minor support, which would have been either this hump high in the pre-market or this first candle high in the pre-market. And of course, price didn't respect either one of those, came right through it. And then we produced the lower high. With the lower high, we inked out an insignificant lower low. Really not that significant, because we didn't take out this low. All we did was take out this low. So I think we kind of trade in a trend going this way until we hit some type of support. That's what I think happens, we trade this way until we hit some support. One more time, I think we hit support one more time, and then price starts to go back up and test the downtrend line. You can see we've got a low, and then we got inked out almost a little lower low there. Can create a parallel line. You can see looking for price probably to run into this uptrend line right here, maybe spike it kind of hard, and then probably turn around and rip up here and test this resistance. This is diagonal resistance. This is diagonal support. So that's what I'm looking for to happen overnight. Okay. So into the close, what do we got? I'm going to call it bearish consolidation. Price moved down over to the right. Really sloppy bearish consolidation. We do have at the current time 10-minute downtrend right here on 10-minute chart. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, and you got a little bit of daylight in there between the 3 and the ADMA. Not much, a little bit of daylight. We're underneath VWAP, so you get the sticks in the 3. Plotting underneath the 8. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like at the close, but currently I'm going to call it a 10-minute downtrend because I still see a little bit of daylight or a window of opening between the 3 and the 8. So that's 10-minute downtrend coming into the close on the 2-hour chart. You got the sticks in the 3 plotting underneath the falling 8. So 2-hour downtrend coming into the close. On the daily chart, we've got a lower high and a lower low. We close underneath the bearish cross, close underneath the 17. We are in the bottom of quadrant 4, so we're still bullish. But if we take out this low, all right, we will negate the uptrend that we're currently in, all right, and it will convert it to a downtrend, all right, taking out this low down here. But currently we're still in an uptrend. We're just not moving up, kind of drifting lower into these lows down here. So there's SPY. There's the origin of the move back here in end of March. We run up, make a new all-time high. And it was really looking good. It looked like they were going to go run off and make another new all-time high right here. And then things kind of fell apart. I don't know how it fell apart, but earnings were good. It seemed that way. The FOM inflation was kind of in line. All right. So and then earnings were good, and we get a lot of hype over AI, and I don't know what happened, but and then not only that, we finally may have found some peace over there in the Middle East, and things just started to fall apart. We're still bullish up here. We're still in quadrant 4, so that's bullish. We're still in an uptrend. We haven't made any lower lows yet, but not liking the sword candle, okay, because that's kind of what we're looking at. There's the hilt of the sword, that body. You got a little handle, and you can see the business end is pointed up. Typically, when the business end is pointed up on the sword, price goes up and over. All right, so we'll see what happens. All right, we get a continuation of a downside move. All right, so there's SPY on the daily chart. Again, we're still bullish, still in an uptrend. Weekly, still going to be bullish and in an uptrend. Top of quadrant 4, you can see. Haven't made any lower lows. Same thing on the monthly up there. Let's move this out of the way. So let's go back to the daily chart. And let's take a look at IWM. Now, IWM made a new all-time high yesterday, right there. So today they got a lower high, lower low. They closed over a bullish trap, closed over the rising 17, top of quadrant 4. So they're still bullish and in an uptrend on IWM. Diamond Dow 3 or 4 days ago made a new all-time high. You can see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4 trading days ago, they made a new all-time high. Their candle for today is, just check out that high. That high is 1891. That high is 1872. Lower high, lower low. Closing inside of a bullish trap over the rising 17. Middle of quadrant 4, that's going to be bullish. and they haven't made any lower lows, and in an uptrend for Diamond Dow. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. We'll start on the 10-minute and work our way up. 10-minute, got a 10-minute downtrend that just got pinched off here. Going to call it 10-minute bearish consolidation into the close for the 10-minute chart. 2-hour, we got the sticks in the 3. You can see the yellow 3 EMA riding underneath the falling 8. So we've got 2-hour downtrend. Definitely got some daylight there. Lots of daylight between the 3 and the 8. So 2-hour downtrend coming into the close on the QQQ daily candles. A little bit like SPY, but not the sword. That's a nice thing. Lower high, lower low. Closing under a bearish cross. Closing under the flat 17. Closing in the bottom of quadrant 4. That's going to be bullish. They haven't made any lower lows, so they're still in an uptrend. What we do have here is if they do happen to take out those lows right down here, okay, they will negate the uptrend and convert it into a downtrend. Currently, still in an uptrend right there, just kind of weren't moving up today. Okay, we were the day before. I think that's Monday. We were moving up there, obviously making a higher low and a higher high up there at the top. Quadrant 4, you can see almost some attempts. 1, 2, 3, 4 here on the all-time high. Really showing some strength, moving up and over to the right. Today they kind of fell out of bed, so now they're closing underneath the bearish cross right there. So there's QQQ on the daily chart. Again, still bullish and in an uptrend on the daily. Weekly, it's going to be bullish and in an uptrend, and monthly, it's going to be the same thing. Again, nothing's been broken yet here on weekly, monthly, not even on daily. Okay, it'd probably break on the lower time frame before it even gets to the higher time frame. So everything's still bullish and in an uptrend as far as the daily, the weekly, and the monthly go. 2-hour and the 10-minute charts, those are currently in downtrends. Let's take a look at FNGU. Yeah, FNGU, I was looking at that earlier this morning. I got bearish sentiment on that. No help from FNGU today. Lower high, lower low. Closed under a bearish trap. Closed under falling 17 EMA. Closed under all-time high anchored VWAP. Almost closing in the top of quadrant 2 here, FNGU. Haven't been there for a couple weeks. And I'm coming back to revisit it, I guess. So lower high, lower low. Closing top of quadrant 2, bottom of quadrant 3, going to be neutral, not in the upper third, not in the lower third. So neutral, and there's a low. They made a lower low. See that low pokes below the 17, so that counts. So they made a lower low, so they're still in a downtrend. The good news is recently until today, they were not moving down. There was kind of like a dysfunctional downtrend, and that price didn't move down. It moved up or over to the right. So you can see price moving up and over to the right until today happened, and then they fell out, and now they're back here at the midpoint. Okay, so there's FNGU. No help from them today. So this is neutral, still in a downtrend until they make some higher highs. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. Start off with silver. Silver falling out of bed just like the others. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, in the middle of quadrant 2. Okay, so it's neutral. Still in a downtrend. We got lows here. We got lower lows. We got lows here. We got lower lows. Okay, so still in a downtrend till we make some higher highs. Silver, neutral, still in a downtrend. Let's take a look at gold. Gold, let's put the quad. Okay, there's the quad lines. Okay, so here's gold. Just like silver, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, closing under the falling 17, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Definitely not in the upper third. Okay, up there. This is the candle right here, this little one. Okay, so definitely not in the upper third, definitely not in the lower third, so neutral. And we've got a couple of lows here. We made a lower low. We've got a couple of lows right here. We made a lower low. So we're still in a downtrend on gold too. Okay, so gold, neutral, and in a downtrend. Okay, so that's daily chart for GLD. All right, origin of silver and gold starts back here in 2022 where it rallies up, makes new all-time highs in 2026 right there. All right, let's take a look at USO. And for USO, okay, now that the Straits of Hormuz are kind of getting straightened out there, not as much pressure on the energy sector. So here's today's candle, lower high, lower low. Closed under a bearish trap, closed under the falling 17. Definitely not in the upper third, definitely not in the lower third, so neutral. Got a couple of highs here, we made a lower high. Got a couple of lows here, we made a lower low. So neutral and in a downtrend still on USO. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bullish trap, closing underneath rising 17 EMA. In the middle of quadrant 1, you got to see this, okay? All right, so that's like some past performance back in like post-COVID. All right, this is just a 14-month high anchored VWAP right there. We're in the middle of quadrant 1, so this is obviously bearish if you're in the lower 1/3 here, okay? So we're bearish. But we're still in an uptrend because we haven't made any lower lows. Okay, so you can see UNG all the way down here in quadrant 1. Much different than, well, silver, gold, petroleum, all right, the SPY, the QQQ, the IWM, much different than those. Okay, I'll take a look at one other one here. Kind of want to point this one out, SMH. That's on my chart. On my watch list, by the way. Now, it didn't make a new all-time high today, but yesterday, right, with IWM, SMH made a new all-time high yesterday. So you can still see there's pockets of goodness happening in the market. You just have to find them, okay? So there's XMH. We could look at, what's XLK? What is that? That's the technology sector. So here's XLK. It's been a while since we made a new all-time high in that. So semiconductors good, technology not quite as good as semiconductors. IYT, here's transports. Now look at transports making a new all-time high about 7 days ago, so sometime last week. All right, so that's pretty interesting. Let's look at XLF. XLF, and it's been a while since XLF made a new all-time high. They're back in quadrant 4, so we'll see where they want to go with this, kind of sporting an inverse head and shoulders here, so we'll see what's going on. When the market makes new all-time highs, I got to tell you, it's going to be really strange if XLF isn't producing some really good numbers in their earnings, okay? Because these are the same guys that facilitate all of that investment banking, all right? All of the work orders and the orders that come through, they monitor the flow. If they can't jump in the same river of money that's already flowing into the market and they don't have the smarts to do that, it's going to be a sad day for the financials. But most of the time, let me just say, the financials are pretty smart. All they got to do is follow the money, and they're the ones that kind of move it themselves. So all they got to do is jump into the flow of money, and they're looking good as well. So here we are with the financials coming into a new round of earnings, I think, later this month or later next month, earlier next month. Okay, so financials right here in the quadrant 4, not the top of quadrant 4, but flirting with the middle of quadrant 4. So looking poised to strike out a new all-time high on the financials. Anyways, let's go look at internals. Start off at T2101. This is a 15-minute chart. This measures participation, all right, or market breadth. Now you can see we got an increase in market breadth right out of the gate. And of course that was shot down. And we just went sideways to the right. So bear flag, that is definitely going to be a bearish clue for me coming into tomorrow. So I'm expecting some more a wave to the downside. Remember, I set up that channel showing you what I'm expecting price to do overnight. That the top line and the bottom line, I expect it to kind of run in and spike that uptrend line that was set from the 9th and the 11th before. T2101, bearish clue there. Not getting any better on the participation, so not liking that. That's a bearish clue. T2122. Spent most of the day underneath the midpoint. I was going to call it neutral. Now I'm going to call it bearish. Okay, just not spending enough time up here in bullish control area. So if we were over the 50-yard line, I would say that the bulls had control. But look, the line spends more time underneath the gold line right here, the 50-yard line. So I'm going to give it to the bears, all right? So this is another bearish clue going into tomorrow. So we got a bearish clue on T2101, bearish clue on T2122. We already saw FNGU. That's a bearish clue. T2123. Look at this. Still got that bearish gap right here. Still haven't filled that bearish gap there. All we did today was extend the bear flag. All right. Nothing bullish happening there. Definitely got a downtrend now. We've got a low. We got a lower low. So downtrend. We're underneath the flat 200. This is a 15-minute chart. T2123. Got a bear flag, sporting a bear flag down here underneath the melting up 200 SMA here. So not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. All right. If you're a bull, you want to be over that. You don't want to be under it. So there's this is going to be bullish, but that's a bearish clue for the price action today. Now I'm going to drop the quad lines in, and you can see back here in March is the origin of our rally. We ran up, made a new all-time high, and we've been bull flagging to the right over here for a long time. All right, and now we've got a little mini bear flag inside of our quadrant 4 bull flag. All right, so we're bullish because we're in the middle of quadrant 4, but we're in a downtrend because we're making lower highs and lower lows. That's the 15-minute chart for T2123. Okay, this kind of measures the whole market. So we kind of like to watch this one because it's not weighted. All right, T2123. Here's the 3-bar, bigger time frame here. Okay, we're up over the 200 SMA, a little bit different than the 15-minute chart. So that's where you want to be if you're a bull. And you can see here's the origin of the move back here in March, up, over to the right. All right, bull flag, same quadrant 4 bull flag. Again, we're bullish because we're in the middle of quadrant 4, and we're still in an uptrend. We have not made a lower low on the bigger time frame. A smaller time frame, yes, but on the bigger time frame, not yet. All right, so we're still bullish and in an uptrend. T2123 3-bar chart. FNGU, no miracles here, no goodness to be said. Gap down, never filled by the bulls. Look at all the red dots. Okay, so definitely you got a low. Well, you got a low, you made lower lows, so you're definitely in a downtrend. Looking like they filled this bullish gap here, or they gapped the gap. Yeah, gap to gap right there. FNGU, okay, so let's stick the quad lines on there. Origin of our rally back here in March. All right, the end of March, made a new all-time high up there. Put the quad lines on there. There's the new all-time high. That's the all-time high anchored VWAP, that pink line. Well, we're definitely not in the upper third. We're not in the lower third, so we're neutral, and we're still in a downtrend, okay? Neutral and in a downtrend. And we're underneath the 200 SMA. Not my place to be unless I'm a bear. And this was a bearish clue today. No recovery at all. Not even a higher high. See that? Got a high there. Didn't take out this high. Even this rally up didn't take out this high. Even this kind of little bump up didn't take out this high. So that's bearish going into tomorrow. So maybe more downside coming into tomorrow, or we get a reversal after a couple hours of kind of flaking lower in the market. So there's FNGU. Nothing but bearish clues. T2101, T2122. See that? All on the southern side of the 50-yard line there. T2123, obviously an extension of the bear flag right there. In FNGU, bearish gap down, never filled by the bears. Red dots from the beginning to the end of the day. All right there. Let's take a look at the guidance this morning. See if I can hook us up with that. And, okay, right here. Okay, so bearish consolidation observed in the pre-market. Let's move it out of the way. Let's go back to the chart. And we're talking about SPY. Let's move this up. Let's go to SPY. Okay, so bearish consolidation. So here's SPY. And let's pick up a clean chart. Okay, so here's the consolidation. Okay, so we gap down. And you got a high up here around, 735.70 right there. And then a low, 733.20. Okay, so 735.70, 733.20. I plan to trade a 5-minute uptrend over 735.70. In other words, a breakout of the pre-market range right up there to that 739 number. Okay, so you can see, I'll put the line in there for the 735.70 area right there. So that popped and we traded it to right here. Okay, and it happens to coincide with that right there. Okay, so we took profit right there. I was buying the pullback. I made a little profit on the pop-up right there. Okay, the rest of it, I was just kind of futzing around and losing money. So I stopped. All right, I stopped because we couldn't get this to go higher up to 740.40. All right, just stopped right there. Came back this way. So it's looking more like tomorrow or the overnight price action, and I think they'll probably run into a wall tonight. Is looking kind of in this direction there. All right, that's what it's kind of mapping out so far. Is moving this direction right there. Okay, so kind of in a channel coming this way, headed towards 730. All right, now if we take out these lows, okay, and we make lower lows, all right, no more uptrend, we'll be in a downtrend right there. Okay, so there's SPY. So that was the trade right there on the guidance. Okay, downtrend. Didn't trade any of the downtrends. I didn't trade them. I did trade a little bit of the extension up here after hitting this. A little bit. I shorted some calls, but then I covered as we came into VWAP. That's it. Okay, so that all the money was made. Now remember, I gapped down and I had probably like 42 puts this morning, and of course I captured a big windfall in those puts right there. All right, so yep, see you in the morning. Thanks everybody. Any questions? Anybody have any questions? Robert, is Robert here? No? All right. So that's it. So I got a lot of bearish clues coming into tomorrow. So probably not bearish overnight. We do have an uptrend line. Don't forget about it. Right there. There's our uptrend line. And if I take the pre-market off, All right. You can see this kind of belongs right about there. So we'll see what happens. Move this over. Just kind of tip this, and then move it up right there. Okay. So there we are with our uptrend line, and I think we probably failed to make a significant lower low and wind up coming back up here. Now, whether we come back up there overnight or we come back up there after the open tomorrow morning, we'll find out. Okay, if they get down here and hold this area underneath, good chance we're coming down here to visit these lows, especially that breakup candle low right there. All right, so this was on the chart earlier yesterday, or in the evening yesterday. Let's look at the obvious. This was yesterday before all of this happened. We failed to break out in the morning. Okay, this was the breakout right there. We failed breakout this morning at the open. We observed price action underneath price action. That left me with a bearish bias. Still remain aware of the range that we're currently in, okay, because we were hanging out right on top of that all-time high anchored VWAP. You could see right here, it was nothing but a wind-up, price coiling up, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. Price was definitely winding up. So we tried to break out there. We failed. Looked like that was a little mini effort with those higher lows. To break out there, we failed there, so we wound up breaking down this way. Then we tried to break up again, looked like we failed, and then overnight they just came fluttering all the way down here to the uptrend line right there, through there. SNDK support level, let's do it. All right. Daily chart. Wow, nice looking chart, SNDK. Okay, you got a peak here and a valley here. They run together. Right here, I'd say they never pulled back to minor support, which probably means they're coming back here. But you can see there's a big gap right there. All right. And I wouldn't even call that support. I would probably extend it down to this wick right through there. Right there. So you got a little bit of mini support here at 1808, and I wouldn't count on it. Okay, that's your first minor support right there, 1808. Well, yeah, right at the top of, see these two wicks here? You got the red wick, the green wick. Those two right there, 1801, maybe a little higher, like 1806, right there. You got a little bit of minor support, 1805, 1808, that area right there, a little bit. I mean, not much. I mean, because you measure the strength of a support area is based on the candles on either side. Now look, see that red candle wick up there only has one candle on the right side and two candles on the left side. You know what I'm saying? So now, and then we take the green candle right there, and we've got, well, looks like 7 candles on that side, 1 candle over here, because this one actually goes up and gets reversed back. So it's not, it's not noteworthy, but it's not just I wouldn't trust it. In other words, okay, it would have to show me that it's gonna stop right there. That's minor support. I actually think it probably blow through and somewhere in the middle it'll probably find support right in through there. But anyways, the next level down, I'm gonna type these out for you. 1808. Okay, that's one of them. And the next one is, let's move this down to right there. The next one is 1525. Okay, so right there. Okay, now let's stick the quad lines on there. And this is June. Let's start from right in March, right there. Okay, you're still bullish up here, but the time you get to real, like major support, or some support here, you're going to get some right there too. 1, 2, 8, 9. Okay, but the time you get to support, you notice you're no longer bullish. They didn't put any foundation, any stair stepping in through here. Not much. So, it could be a hard fall all the way back to 500, and don't want to see that. All right, so I wouldn't want to see any of this right here. Got below this red candle here, I'd be out. That red candle right there. And you came dangerously close today. Okay, because what I do is I fill them in. I take my drawing tools, and they're powering up right now, and I fill them in so I can see the real candle. Okay, so we closed here. Okay, that's the real effect of that candle. Okay, now I'm going to look over here to the left, all the way back to 500. That's the biggest red candle you ever seen, isn't it? Okay, so that's, if that gets any follow through, all right, we don't want to be a part of it. Okay, that's the biggest red candle in months. All of March, all of May, all of June, all of April, right here, biggest red candle whatsoever. So these are your support areas, and for me, I wouldn't want to lose more than that. Okay, that's one big candle. Any more than that, no more than that for me. I can always jump back in it. All right, I can always just jump back in it, or if you want to stick with it up here in these area up here, definitely sell some calls up there so that you recover some of that that money should it pull back to support, which is 1525. Okay, you'll be out by 1900. Okay, all right. You have a plan. That's beautiful because you are miles ahead of a lot of us that have no plan. All right, so big hats off to you. Kudos. Well done. All right. Most people trade without a plan, and I am pleased to see when my members have a plan. All right. Yep. You could get a pop tomorrow. I don't know. I'm seeing bearish sentiment for me. I don't know. I think we do pop sometime tomorrow, but first we got to find the bottom. And I think we're coming a little bit further down overnight, or we're going to consolidate or something. But you can take a picture of that, or it'll be on the video when I post it. All right? Anybody else? You got another one, Sharon? You're welcome. All right, traders, that's it for me. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll see if we can come up with another plan just like we did today. Today was a beautiful day. We traded it right from, it was a professional gap, right all the way back to, you guys know I like those targets where it's a valley between two peaks or a peak between two valleys. And we traded it right to that valley between the two peaks. And we just nailed it right there. That was well done right there. So I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Everybody have a wonderful evening. All right. Until then, have a good night.